Joining me today to discuss industrial cybersecurity is Dave Purdy. He's a regional sales director for TXOne. Welcome, Dave.
Hey, Sid. Good morning. Nice to meet you.
Same here. You know, industrial cybersecurity is a very broad topic, and there's lots of different solutions and solution providers. Can you tell us where TXOne fits into that? People may not be familiar with TXOne, so that would
No, well, thank you. Thank you for that. So hey, it's great to be here. It's a great conference. This is our first time attending the conference. I'll start with kind of our headline of differentiation, which is around OT, zero trust cybersecurity. But there's a number of banners that look similar to that walking through this conference, which has been fantastic in terms of networking and talking to customers. But where we're focused on is where we've been explicitly developed from the ground up for the OT environment, focused on ICS DCS protocols with a deep understanding of those protocols with a very lightweight cybersecurity capability from a software and hardware solution set for the plant floor, industrial manufacturing type settings. I think another thing that differentiates us is we work with legacy and modern technologies. So there's a lot of these field assets that are running on end-of-life software operating system assets that are fully within our portfolio to be protected, as well as more modern systems.
You know, a lot of our clients, we find that a lot of them are struggling to maintain their cybersecurity. I mean, first of all, it took years to get them to invest in it, but then they invested, but they struggle to maintain it. You know, is there something that TXOne can do? I mean, is that something that TXOne helps them with?
It is, and the problem hasn't been, I'd say, eradicated in a commensurate way with how the world's unfolded, especially during COVID. So the short answer is yes, but I still think there's a dearth of education and knowledge of the fact that there's solutions out there to solve it. So I think the market has evolved to a place where discovery and visibility of the risks is becoming top of mind, but the fact that there are available solutions to prevent malware attacks and other malicious behaviors within these industrial settings, I don't think that's particularly well understood yet. So that's our opportunity and challenge. We're working with a lot of the big multinational firms that are here in terms of embedding our products in their solutions. But the flip side of that is we have to go out and do organic partnering and customer education to help these OT environments understand how they can embrace and deploy these solutions. So yes, the problem's still there, but it's absolutely something that TXOne can assist with.
Okay, great. You know, another thing that we see with our clients is this convergence of IT and OT cybersecurity. Is that something that you see, and is that something that you help companies with?
So I mentioned to you before the interview that I studied some of the prior interviews because this is my first trip to this conference. The word that jumps out at me is convergence, and I've been in this industry a long time. You know, I'm not sure if IT and OT are going to converge or not. I'm not sure. We've been talking about this for years, but what I can tell you is we have to embrace both sides of that continuum. So from an IT perspective, we want to create that IT. We want to leverage the existing skills within the IT cybersecurity space. So our majority investor is Trend Microsystems. Trend has a deep amount of history and expertise in the IT space. So we're embracing the look and feel of those tools, and TXOne solution set will integrate with their Vision One solution. On the IT side, we're working closely directly with our customers and through partners like Nozomi, who help identify the risks in the environment, and then we can follow up with preventative actions with our solution set. But at the end of the day, whether IT and OT converge or don't converge, foundational to our value prop is we're explicitly developed for those environments because the availabilities of these systems in the field and these plants are of paramount importance. So you can't introduce latency. It has to be a very lightweight type of cybersecurity solution. We've optimized our portfolio around that.
A lot of our customers also, they're looking for support and helping to justify investments in cybersecurity. You know, it's hard. And is that something you help the customers with, and how?
We do. There's kind of two scenarios. And my background's in disaster recovery and high availability computing systems before I came to TXOne. Post attack, the justification unfortunately becomes too easy. And then it's a matter of, hey, we have to remediate this. So that's a different scenario. That's a threat avoidance scenario. But what's more typical is justification on the basis of uptime and availability. That's where the ROI comes from. So like I said, whether it's a manufacturing facility, whether it's a chemical processing plant, the throughputs, that's what resonates with the manufacturing, the OT side of the house. The threat mitigation and integrity of the systems that are operating in these environments is secondary, but also important. But it starts with availability, and the financial justification would really come around within the domain of keeping systems up and running and operating at maximum efficiency and high quality. The second item I'd add to that is I do see within the justification of how you make these investments. This happened, after the World Trade Center bombing in the disaster recovery space. I see it happening in this space. I think there will come a time where cybersecurity insurance companies will begin to recognize the preventative actions that certain companies take. Cybersecurity insurance rates are doubling and tripling every year. I think the industry will eventually recognize that people that have the detection and preventative capabilities in place, they'll be rewarded in terms of policy cost. I think that's a little bit out into the future, but I've seen this movie before, and I think that's how this might unfold.
Okay. It's a sad way to justify, but it is what it is.
Exactly.
One last question. I want to get your input on, I do forecasting of markets and things like that at ARC. I just want to get your take on what you see as the tailwinds and, the headwinds for your company with respect to the coming future as you're forecasting.
I'll start with tailwinds because I think that's easier. Geopolitical climate, the acknowledgement of the fact that there are risks out there, and frankly, a spike in evil behavior, certainly during COVID. And COVID has caused a lot of these environments that were presumably air-gapped to be not air-gapped or to have occasional connectivity to the IT environment. So those are all tailwinds. The market's recognizing this. I think the headwinds are really education. The organization, and this is why a couple questions ago we talked about convergence. I'm not betting on whether IT and OT converge or they don't converge. I think we have to be prepared to support IT organizations that embrace and adopt executive leadership for the OT space, and OT thought leaders and some of these leading manufacturers that are going to build their own set of skills. So we have to serve both of those populations. But I would say that that's a headwind in the form of customer education, awareness, and then finally, the deployment of these solutions, because it's software and hardware and plant settings, and many of these companies have dozens or hundreds of plants. So that's a formidable task given the variability of skills that many of these companies have. So it's going to be TXOne and other partners that I think help address that question and problem.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Dave. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
It delight meeting you, and thank you so much for your time, Sid.
We've been speaking with Dave Purdy with TXOne. Thank you for watching.